Today we wiped my account. Starting from absolutely nothing, we're going to try and rebuild our wealth and gear, with one rule: I have to do this all solo. Can I get back to riches, or will I be trapped in poverty? Let's get started.
Okay, here we are. Let's got started, I think.
My first goal was to get a gun and just do what I can. So we need to find a scav and get that first rifle. Going into this first run, it didn't matter if I died, as we were starting from nothing anyway. So let's see if we can get a kill. Lucky, but we got something, which is better than nothing. Starting from zero can be tough, but when you get a kill that easily on your first run, it makes it a little bit easier for me to be optimistic. Because this challenge is more about you against yourself, rather than you against the players. It's using every bit of knowledge I have to my disposal, and how well I can use my resources that I have. Every little loot counts. Right now I'd headed to Motel, as I wanted to see if I could loot it without anybody finding it. A get in and get out sort of job. My main goal was to play normal for 5 extractions. If I could bag about 400 to 700k each extraction, I'd be sitting pretty good to get myself into a lockdown. But from playing my first run, I definitely did not expect this huge boost. My first red on my first run in a normal. Can't get any better than that. Now that we had Liquid Cohen, it was time for us to start thinking about our kits that we would bring into normal to up our chances in any fight that we were going to be in. So I first decided to go with a tier 3 AKM kit, something not too spenny and will definitely get the job done in this zone. I could just head to Motel again. If I get another red, Foot is never going through my monitor again. ABI's got some intense gods. I don't really know, but I definitely did not pray today to deserve that red in the last game. We just started the fucking challenge and we're sitting on 2 mil. Same plan as last time, this time we had a kit. Looting Motel, getting all of the gear we could, trying to get to 500 to 700k. Fortunately for us, we didn't get another red, otherwise this would just make it look way too easy. So it was nice to be grounded back down to reality and not get too hyped over the last red. But I thought taking things like food and drink would be useful if we ever wanted to use snipers. We wouldn't have to buy the food and drink, we could just get it here and use it later. So I decided to bag some of that up. I then made a huge trip, just looting on the way, trying to get my value up as much as possible. Until we had some player action come up ahead. Nice, not too bad. The money coming in. Even though it can be boring, that is all. What the fuck is normal loot turned into, bro? I genuinely feel like normal loot's not even that bad at all anymore. Fire. A bit lucky. Fortunately for us, this player seemed too hesitant and nearly got us with the gas and the molly. But because we were in a tight situation, all we could do was push. If he was more aggressive, he probably would have won, but I think his hesitation got the better of him and we just took the kill. And nice free loot to go with us home. Don't know how that guy didn't kill us. Bad, not too freaking bad. Grade 3 at the grade station. The grain station. Off the rip of the spawn of raid 3, we had another player near the grain station. Now, I knew he was in front of me, but this big ass tree was in the way, so there wasn't really much I was doing about that. So I was hoping I could stay quiet, so that way I could catch him by surprise. But I think I forgot that I'd looted half the building already, so if he saw the unopened boxes, he would know that I'm in here. Oh my god. He's got to be fucking low. Sometimes you just can't win every raid, and that's fine, so I decided to switch things up. I wanted to use the AK-102. It's a fairly cheap gun and it dominates in a normal, and it's often what I use when I'm playing with new players in normal zones. Cheap and effective, the way I like it. So, we run it back. Now that I'm playing with a gun that I'm really comfortable with, I wanted to push early off a spawn, but I couldn't see anyone that I tried to spawn trap from the spawn in front of me, so I decided to dip and go for the safe. Okay. We gotta watch that flank. Oh my fucking god. No, you're joking right now. This game can't be real, bro. We'd bagged a red, but we were imminent to a fight. Player there. There's a second one behind there. We fired the first shot, so it's now time to reposition. Get ourselves in a better angle, hopefully try not to lose him, as getting a red and 2 kills would be a perfect way to finish the 4th raid. He's hurt, he's panicking, we reposition, time to finish it off. This kill was definitely worth it, a nice piece of tier 4 armor that we could use later on in a lockdown. He also provided us with a huge chest rig and a huge backpack, which would make a lockdown kit way easier to make without spending any more money, so we took it all. The second guy wasn't as juiced either, but he did have a nice backpack, which was nice to take along with us. Extra meds and extra things we could stock up on. It was looking good for this raid, and I wanted to head to extraction. I can't say this again, but if you look at the screen, it says normal, and I've extracted with 2.7 mil. Like, what the fuck is going on? We were now moving into a lockdown zone, and particularly we're playing Armory. I'm using an SVDS I got from the previous games, hoping that some ratting and tapping could make me a profit on an Armory run. So, I found my position, and I waited. One dead. After mega whiffing, I decided to reposition as I was pretty much cooked. Running out of ammo, I unleashed a whole amount into the tent rather than the actual player, which wasn't a good sign. So, we move around and we try and find a better angle and see what he's going to do next. I catch him looting his teammate's body, trying to get away, so I try to tap him a few times, but he gets away again. Unfortunately for me, I can't afford any more ammo to put into this gun, so it became a very difficult fight. After grabbing the gun, I'm now in a new position and might get a better angle on him, so I decide to take another peek. Where I tap him, so he knows the pressure's still on him and I can still see him, and he is definitely panicked, as he is just running, not even looking back. This gives me time to check the body and kind of take my time a little bit. This is where I decide to test my luck. I'm running whatever gun this is with tier 1 bullets found on a scav. Let's just say ABI blessed me once more today, and I didn't miss. Clean, 1 shot, 1 kill. We got our loot. And definitely worth the risk, as we got a lot of shit out of this. Tier 5 armor, a nice helmet, a nice headpiece with a bunch of meds and useful equipment we can use for future raids. Another backpack and even more stuff for us to grub up. So, we take our wins and we head to an extraction point. Nice. Like that a lot. For this run, the 102 makes a comeback. This gun is a beast in my hands, and for the price it does a smashing job. And this was definitely one of those raids where if you die, you think to yourself, damn, I wish I brought my favourite gun. And I'm happy I did bring one of the beasts. Now, these players were really, really bad. I missed and whiffed every single shot near enough. But it's not about being bad, it's not about being good, it's about who lands the actual shot at the end of the day. And somehow I did. There was a definitely nice way to start the raid, get myself a Mosin, which had tier 4 bullets, and a Uzi with dum-dums, which I decided not to take the ammo. So I began to move off and move away towards the radar satellite post when I heard somebody shoot. It's another dead. Now, I got him insta-dead, but there's another one coming. Now it's time to grub the rewards. Not much to grub here though, unfortunately for us. Not much gold ammo, which we're really looking for so we can start leveling up our raids and our kits. But it is loot nonetheless, and it's something that we're going to need, as we need everything at the moment. So we'll take as much as we can. Pushing towards my next body, I hear even more shooting. Unfortunately for us, these guys were not juiced at all. I'm talking not even an ounce or a slime of juice. But it's okay, there's some half decent stuff that we can use, sell, and maybe repurpose into something actually useful. They had a couple of scars which we might be able to take and use for future kits, and they had a couple of mags and extra things that we could take as well. As I said, Zero to Hero is all about being resourceful and trying to save as much money as possible. So, a bad looking scar could potentially turn into a beast of a weapon if we modify it correctly. So once again, we take what we can and we head to an extraction and get ready to go into our next raid. This raid I was feeling more confident, so I decided to level up, use what we had and go straight into a forbidden solo ops TV station. I got a good spawn and I was feeling lucky, so I decided to rush a red spawn where I know a teapot spawns in occasionally, and more often than not it does. We can nab a red from here. Oh my god, we can. But as quickly as I came in, and as confident and optimistic I was feeling, this forbidden run really set me back down to reality. He's got a tier 6 helmet on. Now we're heading into day 2, and to warm up, what's better than a normal on Valley? Straight off spawn, I've already heard somebody running my direction, so I decided to position up and wait for them to come. I know he's close, but I don't know where. So being patient and waiting for a sound cue to inform me is the best choice of action. This video, I'm really in love with the 102, so while we're waiting for a potential third party, I do a bit of looting up and get myself a T-set and a leveler, a nice 300k to go in my rucksack. And once I'm feeling confident that no one else is coming, it's time to head to the body and see what goop we have. And disappointing loot it was. A really shitty shotgun with bare minimum stuff that we could even take. But it's okay, it's only a warm-up, so let's move on. So I begin my roam towards the retrieval box, stashing the golds to make room for more, and guaranteeing what I've already got. And luckily, this was perfect timing as I found myself a nice 270k gold, we're now sitting on a guaranteed 500k, which is well above my kit value. So now I'm looking for players, because I want to get some better kits. But what we're looking for has already found us. Nice, clean and quick, let's see what we've got. Nothing too crazy, an MP5 and an AK, with some extra goodies to go along with it. A nice way to end the run and just extract with what we've got. A very lovely 900k to go in the bank. Moving into the second raid of the day, we're moving into the same old, normal valley. Mostly looking for PvP in these zones, so I decide to rush the closest POI and hope I bump into someone. And as predicted and usual, the sound of footsteps leads us straight into a team. first one down, but I can already hear more footsteps approaching. Whiffed. They know where I am, so it's time to reposition. They seem very laid back, so it's time to go on the offense. Put some pressure down. Teammate was down after every kill, so I'm assuming there's a fourth. It's not time to loot yet, it's time to figure out if there is, so I pull out the heartbeat sensor to verify that I'm safe to loot. I know I'm safe. It's time to bag up what goodies we can get off of these guys. And boy, were they packing for a normal zone. And the main thing these guys were packing were the bullets. We had a lot of gold bullets come our way, especially for the carbine. This guy was where the juice was at. RPK-16 worth 300k, all with tier 4 bullets. Something we would definitely reuse for future lockdown runs that should help us shred enemies apart. I'm happy with the 1.1 mil, so we just dip. Now that I was feeling warmed up on a normal, I set my sights for Armory lockdown. Again, with another marksman rifle, ratty-tappy meta. I mainly wanted to try out a new marksman rifle that was cheaper and will get the job done. So I picked M14, only costing me about 100k per run. This means I can focus more money towards my ammo and only be spending 100k to 200k every run on my gear, making it a great alternative from an M10. As at the moment, we need to be more clinical about how we spend our money and trying to save as much as possible so we can run the better bullets that we can kill people with. As playing a solo, it's very difficult to wipe a squad without half decent bullets. For the price of the gun, it definitely gets the job done, giving me a couple of nice new kits and toys to play with for future raids. So we pack up what we can, get what we need, and get out and head to an extraction. Same map, same kit, same spawn, same plan. We sit, we wait, and we see what comes our way. That was too messy. He's got a teammate and they definitely know where I am. I need to think about repositioning and trying to find a new angle. After a while of waiting, I don't think his teammate was coming to save the day. So I quickly go grab my loot and head off. Watching this back, I don't think I realised I think I killed 2 of them and didn't check the one behind the tank. But nonetheless, I decided to head into the armory and see what else I could scrounge up and maybe do some ratting. I got him, but he went down. There's definitely another lurking around here. Let's gobble up the loot as quick as we can, take the gun, because we might need it for some close range CBQ. I don't know if that's the correct terminology, but this guy was packing a red also. Extra money, extra moolah, straight in my bulletproof case. The fact I got the red gave me more confidence to try and push an attack, and maybe even try and take another guy down. I've hurt him, but I don't know where he's run off to, so I need to reposition, find a new angle and catch him off guard as quick as I can. But sometimes life doesn't pan out that way. But this raid, we really started moving up in the money department. Starting off the raid, I was sandwiched between 2 teams, which wasn't ideal, so I tried to find myself a little hiding spot. Wait out the players and wait for the third party was the plan. I even got heartbeat detected at one point, but for some reason they couldn't find me and I decided to head a new direction. I ran off and completely left the area to come back later to see what loot might have been left behind from the fighting. Also, because I know it's safe everywhere else bar where I was, so I can take that to my advantage, do some extra looting and gooping. But when I was on my way back to check the loot, I did not expect the loot still being hoovered up. Time to finish the job. And boys, we made it to heaven. Arena Breakout Goop Infinite. The loot here was insane, and the fact there was only 10 minutes left of the raid meant one thing. No one else was coming, and it was ours to sort out and Tetris. So I spent a while Tetrising, trying to get as much value as I could out of this kit as I physically could. But there was just too much to go through. I generally think if somebody else was with me, an extra 1 to 2 mil was sitting on the floor here. I've sped it up so you can see what I get, but I'm not going to narrate over loot. Just enjoyed a little montage of me trying to get as much goop as possible, I guess. And while you're waiting for me to do that, subscribe, like, and that jazz, helps me out. It sounds really weird to ask for that. This is a very unscripted part of the video. Look at all that juice. Just doesn't stop. Brings a tear to a man's eye, I think. But the tears have got to stop, and we've got to get on with the next raid. Lock in! Coming into the next raid, I decided to go to TV Station and use some of the gear that I'd got from previous raids to build myself a W kit. The kit I had huge armor and very, very heavy, so sprinting was a death sentence if anybody could hit. It was about staying quiet and seeing what we could do from the shadows, and hopefully only be a bullet sponge that doesn't die. But off the rip, I already heard fighting and someone die. It's now my turn. He's killed someone and I've killed him. That's 2 bodies and we're on solo ops. Let's go and see what we got. Overall, not bad at all. Brought us to a great 1.4 million just from one guy. Let's check out the other kill. This one was huge. Great gun, H4, which not even 10 minutes into the raid, we're already sitting at 2.5 mil. So I decided to take my time and just go to an extraction. It's not worth staying. Not a bad raid for our first TV Station solo ops. Moving into my next raid, we switched it to Farm Lockdown, and we're still using the MK14 because it's a good budget gun all around. Until you hit something like this and you just whiff. About 5 minutes later, I decided to follow the trail of gunshots, thinking it was the same players. One dead, one more to go. But where's he gone? He's just hit me. I'm hurt. I need to reposition and stop peeking. Try and find a new angle. I hear him flank round the side to where I just was. So I stay quiet, lay down, and wait for him to come to me. Time to lay out the trap. Fight 1, so now we loot up and juice up. Now that I had a couple kills, I was pretty happy with what I got. It could be way better. But at this point, extracting is the main goal. Dying is not. So I decided to push down the back of Motel and maybe I could catch someone else off guard. And that I do. I hear them, so I stop and wait for them to push. See where they are. One down, another to go. Both of them snapped and tapped. Time to loot. Overall, you can't be too mad when players run into you, but you see them first. It's a great feeling, especially as a solo, because all this juice is ours for the taking. But where there's juice, loot and sound, you can bet there's going to be more players who want a piece of that action. He's dead, so let's make the most of what we've got left for loot and check our third body. Let's see what we can get off this extra kill. An MPX, not bad. We can fold that up, put that in our backpack with our AK-12, and we're looking pretty good. Gotta say, I'm liking this run. Let's head to an extraction. Welcome back to the valley. Today, we're pushing the villa. I'd heard a couple gunshots early on in the game and I wanted to go and investigate and see if I can get a cheap kill off. After some investigating, I seem to figure out that they're towards the helipad. And I can't see them in the main building or making any noise. Their mistake, I've spotted one of them and they haven't seen me. Now it's time we get offensive. That's one dead, one more. The loot, not bad. Seems like they were rats sniping away. An M10 and an M24. We'll take it, we might use that later. But as I start heading to extraction, I start to hear more players. The loot's mid, but it's better to take something rather than absolutely nothing. So we scrunch up what we can, make it fit, and we head on home. Right now, I'm feeling pretty optimistic in it, but only showing my extractions makes it seem like it was an easy task. Playing solo is hard and it requires you to play a little bit more devious than you usually would if you were with a squad. There's always that extra man who's ready to take you down. Welcome to the next day, day 4. And we are kicking it straight off with some Armory Forbidden. T5 bullets with a couple of reds and an M24. All we need to do now is sit and wait for the fish to come to us. Now that the fight was over, it was now time for us to see what loot we could get. And boy, we got some good juice for one kill. AK-12 loaded with T5 ammo. And what's better than just one kill, but bumping into another body on the way to extraction? Let's see what else these guys got. Not a lot, a headset and a backpack, a couple of grenades. A little extra to add to our inventory. Definitely not a bad way to end this raid and the first one of the day. Moving on, it was time to get a bit more serious. Bringing the 102 back out. And straight off spawn, we were straight into it. Could already hear a little rat getting in position, so I look around, find my target, and sort him out. We don't want to push the body yet, we don't know if he has a team, so we just do a little bit of looting and sit in this building for a couple of minutes to see what we can get. So now we detour for the loot, making a huge run around the sides just in case anybody else is around. And this guy definitely did not have a headset on. And while his character had a headset, he certainly did not IRL. Rookie mistake. But for the mistake, it matches up to the loot. Nothing useful here for us to use. Time to see what this little rat has on him. And while he does have a bit of loot, an Uzi and an M24 with red bullets and tier 5s. We can definitely use that at some point. So now we take our time, sweep around and loot the rest of the map, and hopefully we bump into something that we can kill. But unfortunately for us, there would be no more action for this raid, but we take what we can get and we leave to go on to the next. Straight off this spawn, we're looking to kill somebody off the rip. Try and spawn kill them if we can. But unfortunately for us, we couldn't catch anyone out, nor see them. But while camping out in the middle of the map for any sound cues, somebody comes straight into our lap. Perfect. An M4 with some golden bullets, pistol, better helmet and a better headset. Can't ask for much more of an upgrade, along with some tier 5 chest rig armor. Unfortunately very damaged, but could be usable for a future raid. I'm happy with what I've got, so it's time to get ourselves to an extraction and get out with what we can. While it was nice to have another fish in the pond, straight on our bait, nothing here we could really use. We took what we can, and we headed on our route. Another successful operation, raid, and game done. Right now we got ourselves to an awesome 15 million in value, and I want to continue this series on. So I'm going to be making a second video, but this time we're making it a team-based experience. Because as much as I love being alone, it really is not that fun. It takes a lot of optimism and a lot of discipline to keep going for a challenge like this. And a team will just make it easier now that we've got the gear to keep up with the team. So I'll see you all in the next video.